Rob Callister is with us on his 3-year interview, and I was looking back in your last one. It was a lot going on there. You said this year was going to be particularly last year for this year was going to be particularly busy. So let's start with last year. Looking back, how was it for you?
I think it's been a fantastic year. I'm growing into the job. I think that's fair to say. I'm still struggling a little bit with stress and tiredness and pressure at times.
You said that last year as well.
Yeah, I did, and I think it's very hard to explain to the general public the pressure that's put onto you as an MHK at times. You've got pressure coming from within government, should we say, at times, and you've got pressure from constituencies, and then from constituency sort of general public. It's interesting, and I've never experienced anything like this. But would I still change it? No, I wouldn't. I still love the job. I still think it's a fantastic opportunity, and I love helping people where I can. You know, somebody came to my surgery last week. They'd lost £60–70 a week of their benefits. I was able to send a correspondence on Saturday. It was sorted by Thursday. That, to me, tells me what's really good about this job sometimes.
That's in your blog, no doubt, as well.
It was down as the description of it, you know, what I'd done in the surgery. And the surgeries are very popular. I mean, I get a lot of regular people just coming in to say hello. I get other people coming in to talk about isolated or individual cases. And I try to get correspondence typed up on the Saturday or the Sunday and then try and get them resolved as quickly as possible. Some of them I can't. Mm-hmm. And it's when I can't get things resolved is when I get some sort of backlash sometimes from constituents, because you can't help everybody and there's circumstances which you can't help. And there are occasions, you know, I feel government's wrong when they don't offer as much support they should do in certain circumstances.
Well, let's look at the last year. What were your highlights from the last 12 months?
I think it's hard to explain because I've just ploughed my own field, and that doesn't mean that I'm not a team player. I am. I listen to my colleagues, I work with colleagues, but I've just done my own thing. I've held government to account when I need to hold them to account. I've supported government when I felt they needed support, including on a department level as well. It's just been a really good year. There's no real massive highlights. You know, I've worked with the motorsport team to try and get the TT, you know, to a new level, if expectation with people. So the overall experience, and more importantly, that people get value. When people visit our island, that they feel they get value. I think the tourism team has done an amazing job. I think we've got this new visit agency now up and running for 18 months. We're starting to punch some holes in there to try and to get the Isle of Man you know, more marketable with regard to as a destination of choice. I think we've had a new video going out this last couple of weeks. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to try improve the sectors that I work with. I think from a constituency point of view, I think over the last couple of months all of my time has been taken up with the Eastern Area Plan.
And you mentioned that last year, that it was going to be the big thing this year. It's still rumbling on, isn't it?
I think this year is going into next year. I think the Eastern Area Plan could be massive for me, work-wise. And I think it's right that I stand with the people of Onchan and defend that particular site that's been included at the top of Birch Hill. I haven't finished on a parliamentary level on that because I think the Council of not Council of Ministers, I apologise. I think the Cabinet Office has made a serious error of judgment, and I've told that to Chris Thomas to his face yesterday. That I think the Council of Ministers, I keep saying Council of Ministers, it's because the report's going to go to the Council of Ministers after it goes through the Cabinet Office. But the Cabinet Office has made a serious error to include those 3 fields at the top of Birch Hill. So I spent about 50–60 hours researching it. I then gave evidence to that inquiry last week. And then I've spent probably another 20 hours just preparing myself now for what may or may not happen in January when the report's published.
Okay, I mean, really, where do you see yourself going, though? You know, we're now into the 3rd year, and we'll deal with more. But in this last 12 months, are you making headway, do you think?
It depends what you mean by headway.
Well,
I'm doing the job. Now, the job isn't all the glitz and glamour, you know. I'm not pushing through any particular pieces of legislation.
Why not? Nothing on your mind? Nothing that you do?
There's no. I'm here to represent my constituents. None of my constituents have come to me and say, Rob, I think this needs reviewing, or I think you should be pushing this thing. Nobody's come to me on that. So what I'm actually focusing my attention is doing the job, which is what I lay out in my manifesto, and that is to represent the constituents of Onchan, to review everything that's put in front of me without fear or favour, which is something I say all the time. Report back to constituents when I need to, keep constituents informed of what's going on. And I feel I'm doing that, But even at a department level, support the minister, challenge the minister, challenge the department when I need to.
Yeah.
This is about how you do the job. And I still genuinely believe that the current crop of MHKs are doing the job a lot better than the collective group of the previous administration. I think there is more MHKs now really scrutinising what government is doing. And I'll also add in the MLCs, because they always seem to get targeted. Some of the newer MLCs, I'll be quite honest, work a lot harder than some of the MHKs. They work fantastic. There's 2 or 3.
Do you name names?
No, I don't think it's right that I'll name, but there's 2 or 3.
They know who they are, do they?
I think most people know. There's
Okay.
2 or 3 MLCs that work incredibly well.
Well, the MHKs that aren't working hard enough.
I'm not going to mention them either. That's for the public to determine themselves if they feel that their constituency MHK is working hard enough for them. My constituents know what I do every week. You know, again through my blog and through other posts and everything else.
Got to ask you,
Yeah.
you know, you and Julie Edge, how's it going now?
Yeah, I mean, I said this last year.
I know. It certainly rumbles on, doesn't it not?
No, there's nothing rumbling on.
You keep saying nothing, and I'm always saying there is something going on.
No, what it comes down to, and I said this last year,
Yeah.
Paul, is that when you're elected, you are elected with 23 other members of the House of Keys. Some you'll get on with, some you won't. Me and Julie are just different people. That doesn't mean I don't work with her.
But you don't get on with it.
No, that's not true.
Well, I'm just trying to get exactly what.
We just are 2 different people.
Yeah.
Julie does a fantastic job in Onchan. I have no problems with that. We're working very closely on the Eastern Area Plan because
Do you have
we are
surgeries
going
together?
No, we don't. But where some of this confusion comes down is the fact that I think Julie was a Liberal Vannin member to start with. Then she's become independent. But I've always been independent. So it's very difficult. So I hold my surgery monthly. People know that. And it's on the 3rd Saturday of every month in the community hub. Now, I talk to Julie, you know, all the time, and we work together on certain things. But in this job, we are different people. You know, we have different outlooks. And I still feel our relationship would be a lot better if Julie didn't look after social housing. And I suppose
that's still an issue for you.
And well, I think she's got some difficult roles, you know, unfortunately, you know, having to look after housing. I'm very passionate on social housing. I'm still pushing that there should be an evaluation of a tenant's ability to pay rent. We know we've got Chris Thomas going to be talking about his rates modernisation, and I'll be talking about that, about assessing somebody's ability to pay these bills.
Last thing before we move on to next year.
Yeah.
Motorsport is your thing,
Yeah.
but you were absent, you weren't here when it was all kicking off with the Festival of Derby thing, and you weren't actually here for the Festival of Motorsport, were you at all? Was that just some scheduling issue? Or
No.
it seems it's your big thing, that's all.
It is. I was here for the TT, but I am part of a team, so I'm only one small, tiny cog in a big wheel. So what happened was I booked a holiday 18 months, 2 years down the line. I promised my wife a holiday that I'd thank her for all her help and support.
During the MGP, or what you call it.
Unfortunately, if you want to put on the spot,
you didn't check your diary.
No, the cruise element was fixed, so I couldn't change my holiday. So it wasn't the case that last year I went away straight after the Festival of Motorcycling. This year I'd already promised, 2 years down the line, that I'd take my wife away to thank her, because in this job it doesn't make no difference if it's your husband or your wife, your partner. You need that support. So just to answer your question, so what actually happened was I went away, Minister Skelly was on hand, Tim Krukal MLC was there covering for me. I followed everything from Alaska when I was away.
Were you surprised? Did you know about the Derby situation coming up? Was that a shock?
No, and as soon as I saw it on social media, I contacted the committee, the Vintage Motorcycle Committee, and asked them if we could have a meeting to understand. But this is a third-party event, similar to Isle of Man Rally. It's not run by government, although the motorsport team do put in TT stars and everything else to support the event. So what we do need to do, and I've already scheduled that meeting, I think it's going to happen next week or the week after, where we'll sit down with that committee and see if there's anything we can do, because it is a massive event within the TT or the Festival of Motorcycling calendar. So we just want to talk to them and see if there's anything we can do to help them to try and change their mind.